we're happy to have our performers today. We have Dr. Jolivette Anderson and Nadja Douoning. They'll be performing poetry and music that is related to Juneteenth and to their lives. And they'll do more formal introductions of themselves as they proceed. I want to thank you for being here. This is the third year that South Burlington has celebrated Juneteenth. This year, more than the other years, we've had events throughout the month. And some of that is very specific to Juneteenth. We'll have one more presentation on Tuesday night where Reverend Mark Hughes will come and talk about Juneteenth. When do we celebrate and when do we mourn? That'll be Tuesday night here. And then we have one more book discussion of a novel later in the week that ties in with the Black experience here in the United States. So anyway, I'm thrilled that you're here. This will be taped for Town Meeting Television, so we will get a chance to see it again if we want to. And we can tell people that it's happened and they missed it because they were out sunbathing or whatever was going on outside. With regard to the building, if you need a bathroom, it's down this hallway on the left. The same for a water fountain. There is no eating or drinking in the auditorium with the exception of the performers who sometimes need to get a swig of something to cool their throats. And I want to point out, in case you didn't notice, that out front, the Friends of the Library have been saving up books by African American authors to give away around Juneteenth. And they missed the performance on Thursday night because they were concerned about the weather. So they're here today with us instead. So please, on your way out, pick up a book and have a good read. So thank you for being here and enjoy the performance.
Won't you celebrate with me what I have shaped into kind of a life? I had no model. Born in Babylon, both non-white and woman. What did I see to be except myself? I made it up. Here on this bridge between starshine and clay, my one hand holding tight my other hand. Come celebrate with me that every day something has tried to kill me and has failed. Won't you come celebrate by Lucille Clifton? I am Dr. Jolivette Anderson Douoning, also known as Jolivette the Poet Warrior for those who don't know. This is Nadja Douoning, also known as Nana Upside Down. Mother, daughter, daughter, mother, just in case you were wondering. We are here to acknowledge Juneteenth as a federal holiday and as a day of liberation, celebrated by Black Americans since 1866. Our way of acknowledgement and honor of the holiday and of our ancestors who lived through and survived the history of the United States as formerly enslaved people will provide you with an academic way and an artistic way of engagement to help you process and understand Juneteenth from our perspective as Black women who inherited the wisdom and the wit of people who continue to live when something tried to kill them, but it failed. Because we sit right here, right? It failed, right? Since American history is often taught as timelines, holidays, and heroes that do not include we, the people, the everyday worker, the laborer, We feel it is our duty, our civic obligation to provide you with context as we introduce you to we, the Black people. We the people is a reference to 3 different specific groups. According to civil rights philosopher and leader Bob Moses, the first group is the constitutional people, those who were present at the time the Constitution was written. The second group present at the founding of the nation were those who were constitutional property. Both groups were present in the land we now call the United States of America in the year 1787. Prior to 1787, we can revisit the years of 1607 and 1619 as origin points to begin to understand those who we now call the whites and the blacks. Prior to 1607 and 1619, we can visit the 1500s, when indigenous peoples lived and labored and built civilizations that had a relationship with the land based on mutual respect on this here bridge between Starshine and Clay, where there is an understanding of the sacred. Yet, while the continental U.S. was inhabited with indigenous folks, the island of Hispaniola, now Haiti and the Dominican Republic, that island of Hispaniola became a place where human trafficking of Black bodies became permissible, became legal, and became ordained by God, according to some men. Eventually, in this history, the ship, the White Lion, was hijacked, and 21 and odd Africans ended up at Fort Comfort in Virginia. This set the stage for delving deeper into 1619 as one point of entry, one point of origin, to begin to ask questions and find answers to who Black people were then and who we are now. But the history we will discuss today begins 246 years from 1619 and marks the end of what we call a slaveocracy. June 19th, 1865 is marked as one day in history that marks the shift of a nation reorganizing from slaveocracy into a democracy. To truly understand Juneteenth and we, the Black people, you must attempt to understand the space in between slaveocracy and democracy. And you must ask the question, who are the people that preferred and still prefer a slaveocracy over our presently organized democracy? A slaveocracy is, quote, a society or social system of government where slaveholders hold significant political and economic power, end quote. A democracy is, quote, a system of government by the whole population or all eligible members, typically through elected representatives. Fascism, and I quote, is a populist political philosophy, movement, or regime that exalts nation and often race above the individual, that is associated with a centralized autocratic government headed by a dictatorial leader, and that is characterized by severe economic and social regimentation and by forcible suppression of opposition. Therefore, those who prefer a slaveocracy over democracy can be seen as supporters of fascism and support it over democracy. And this is how we, the Black people, understand the Confederacy, what it was in the 1860s and who their descendants are in 2025. Juneteenth was when the constitutional property exerted their power in the name of and in pursuit of constitutional personhood for themselves and their progeny. Juneteenth Juneteenth is about the defeat of the Confederacy. The Confederate States that seceded from the Union of the United States because it wanted to maintain their right to own slaves. The slaves were we, the black people, the constitutional property, present at the founding of the nation and before. The celebration of Juneteenth is about liberation of black people from Confederate rule, from slaveocracy. It being associated with the state of Texas is even more important historically because, according to historian Gerald Horne, many Confederate soldiers across the South were making their way across the South, specifically from Louisiana and East Texas, headed for Mexico to reorganize in a way that would restart slavery in the United States. You see, Mexico in the 1820s and 30s made a commitment to be anti-slavery. They had a black and indigenous president. Later, France would invade Mexico in 1862, and the people of Mexico fought against the French and won on May 5th of 1862. Ever heard of Cinco de Mayo? May 5th? That's what it celebrates. The French would regroup after that defeat and capture Mexico City. They installed a man by the name of Maximilian as Emperor of Mexico, and during his reign, he was open to building relationships with the former Confederate soldiers. Thus, their movement toward Mexico to begin their organizing and planning to fight the United States and reinstate slavery with the help of France. 2 years after Juneteenth, 1865, Maximilian was killed, ironically enough, on June 19th of 1867. So there may be two reasons to celebrate, according to some people. Because his death put an end to the Confederates' dreams of restarting slavery and re-enslaving we, the black people. Meanwhile, in North Louisiana, just across the Texas border, in places like Longstreet, Keithville, and Shreveport, Louisiana, our maternal line of black women and their husbands would live lives that set the stage for what is happening on this stage. The 5th and the 6th documented generation of those who maintained that freedom from after Juneteenth and are sharing their local stories to hopefully give you all insight into we, the black people, we, the black women of the South and beyond. Our movements, memories, and migrations toward liberation. Now, let me introduce you to 6 generations. I'm gonna do it in an interesting way, okay? So, y'all ready? A large part of our family legacy is rooted in the Black Baptist Church tradition. So I thought we'd switch the academic into the artistic by having a little bit of down-home religion church stuff going on. Okay? So first there's this hymn and chant, right? In the black church, when I was growing up, we hear stuff in the church go, I love the Lord, He heard my cry. So that's how we would start off, right? But that's the kind of moan, soul and wail that you would hear from my great-great-grandmother, Mama Stark. This is Mama Starks here to my far right. Mama Starks, we don't have a lot of information about her. The reason I know that she exists is because my mother told me about her, and because I had a cousin that lived to be over 100 years old. He died in Detroit, Michigan. And Cousin John's mother was Mama Stark's sister. So the oral tradition of passing down information through the family is how I know about Mama Stark. And also there was a real good barbecue spot on Hollywood Avenue in Shreveport, Louisiana by the Starks family. And they were our relatives, but we never could figure out how because I hadn't done all the research at that time, right? So now we know, okay? So the next person I'd like to introduce you is my great-grandmother, Minerva. She would be the second one there from your right. So my grandmother Minerva died 8 years before I was born. She died in 1960. And the reason I know this is because my grandmother kept a ledger. And her ledger actually became my dissertation project because I found it after my mother passed away. And in that ledger, there were some faded pages because she started writing this in 1946. And in the faded pages, one day the light hit it a certain kind of way, and I was able to see that there was some writing still there, right? It was written in pencil. And so when I looked closely at the writing, I went to go make a copy, and I could see that it said, "Mama got run over." My grandmother said her mother got ran over, died that night in the hospital. We don't know the circumstances of who ran over her, how she got ran over, where she got ran over. But we know that something, whether it was a car, a streetcar, a train, we don't know. But we know that those were the circumstances of my grandmother Minerva's death, okay? So I call out her name, Minerva Blade Harris Ford. Next, my grandmother Golina, the largest image here in the middle. My grandmother Golina worked picking cotton in the fields in North Louisiana in the 1950s. This was day labor work. And she managed to work in the cotton fields for several years after they moved from rural Louisiana into the city of Shreveport. She managed to save money with my step-grandfather. They managed to purchase a dirt lot. They managed to build a house on that dirt lot. They didn't have banks. They didn't have loans. They made that money from working in the cotton field, working at the chair factory, working at the lumber yard, and they saved and saved and saved, and little by little, inch by inch, dollar by dollar, dime by dime, penny by penny, they built that house. And that created the stability that they needed because they were tenant farmers in rural Louisiana working somebody else's land. So the American dream for we the black people was to get your own little piece of land, get your own house, some staples so you can build your family and leave something for them. She left something for us. She was literate. I found her on the census in 1930. She was literate by the time she was 10 years old. My grandmother could read and write and cipher. A lot of black people in the community couldn't. So she was the person that they came to figure out things, to write things for them, right? So this is an inheritance. This history is the inheritance of we, the fifth and sixth generation of these black women I've introduced you to thus far. Now then there's Helen. Woo! She called her Mima. I called her Mama. Helen Anderson did so much for black people in the city of Shreveport. Hundreds of thousands, well not hundreds of thousands, but thousands of students. She taught for 37 years. She was a coach. She taught everything from cheerleading and basketball to square dancing in her class, okay? And her name, Helen, I'm not gonna tell that joke because I know we're being filmed. But anyway, When we talk about these black women, and we talk about the church specifically, there's a song that my grandmother used to sing. Shine on me, oh shine on me. I wonder if the lighthouse will shine on me. Shine on me, oh shine on me. I wonder if the lighthouse will shine on me. So on my other side of the family, on my dad's side, my Aunt Nancy Anderson Smith would tell me that before they would eat dinner, my grandfather, James Brown Anderson, would always say this little prayer around all his children at the table. He would say, may these children grow to be great men and great women for thee and for the cause. I so desperately want to ask my grandfather, what was the cause? I have an idea, but I really want to know. For thee and the cause. In the Black Baptist Church tradition, we do an invocation where we ask Spirit to come on in the room. We call Spirit by singing songs by that title. Come on in the room. Come on in the room. Jesus is my doctor, and he writes down all of my scripture, and he gives me all of my medicine in my room. All the people say, come on in the room. Come on in the room. Jesus is my doctor, and he writes down all my scripture, and he gives me all of my medicine in my room. Woo! So I just invited the Spirit up in here. We hope it ain't gonna be like that movie Sinners and the right people show up. So now let me introduce you to a part of the Black Baptist Church tradition called the testimony. We're going to do this in poetic form by a man by the name of Ephraim Tyler, who is a poet in Shreveport, Louisiana. And Ephraim Tyler's poetry was taught to young children in Shreveport, and my dad had to learn this poem when he was in the second or third grade. And Ephraim Tyler's poetry has gone all over the world. His book was actually shared with soldiers during World War II. And so this is called Uncle Sandy's Desire. Well, church, I come out here before you to tell you my desire. I done said I wouldn't tell it, but my soul done caught on fire. All these children keep talking about the religion that they got, but I come here feeling chilly. But you got old Sandy hot. 40 years ago yesterday, out on the old Hopgood place, I began to tell the people that my soul been saved by grace. Every step I make forward near to my grave I get, but I got a termination. I ain't told nobody yet. This old foot of mine been taking out the mire and the clay. Had my trials and my crosses yet, but still, I'm on my way. Sometimes I get up at midnight and get down on these old bones, and the very saints in glory know old Sandy's at the phone. I'm making out my records. I ain't leaving nothing blank. Done already got my ticket and my check on heaven's bank. I'm getting up my jewelry every day and every night. I'm enlisted in this army and I'm expected for the fight. Chillin'. If you got religion in your soul like this in mine, you ain't ashamed to tell nobody just exactly where you going. Ever since that Friday morning, I was freed at 3 o'clock. My eyes been right on the star post and my foot's been on the rock. Sometimes I can hear the hellhounds come a-yelping on my track, but I do not run them devils, and I ain't never going back. I can't tell my determination, because my soul done caught on fire. Pray for me. I'm bound for heaven, chilling. This is my desire. Ephraim Tyler, Uncle Sandy's desire. Could you hear the Louisiana dialect? It was obvious, right? Sometimes I just sound like that regularly, actually, so, okay. All right, actually all the time. My student up there, they can tell you I'm country in the classroom too. All right. All right, this next piece brings us up to the 1950s, right? I still haven't been born yet. I was born in 1968, so we haven't quite got to the 5th generation. But my mother, the 4th generation, was alive. She would have been 19 years old around the time that this poem was published, written by Naomi Long Majette. And Naomi Long Majette wrote this poem midway, and I love to do it, but she says that she wrote it because of what was going on in the country at the time. Who knows what was happening in the 1950s as it relates to we, the Black people? Think about education. Think about the Supreme Court. It would have been Brown versus Board of Education happening in 1954-55. And how Louisiana responded to Brown versus Board of Education, it took 30-something years for them to actually try to desegregate schools, because they tried to create all kinds of pathways to maintain segregation, because there were separate Black schools and white schools, because they were still operating from the 1896 Supreme Court case that said the Plessy versus Ferguson, that instituted separate but equal, which meant that graveyards, water fountains, schools, churches, everything was supposed to be segregated based off of race, based off of whether you identified as Black or white, right? And if you didn't identify as Black or white, you were either going to be categorized with a particular group or you was going to be asked to pick a side, okay? And it was usually going to be based off of your skin color. And if you were a person that looked white, and they found out that you had one what? One drop of Black blood. That means one person in your family was Black, then you were going to be Black. Didn't matter what your skin color looked like. So there was this thing about blood. So we understand this history from we, the Black people's perspective. It makes you walk through the world a little differently, right? When you know these things. And a lot of this conversation about Louisiana has come up recently because of, nobody knows, our new Pope. Right, because his people were from Louisiana, right? So they found his relatives on the, I think it was, I can't remember which one, but there are censuses every 10 years. So in one census, they are identified as mulatto and living in the 7th Ward in New Orleans, which was a place where, I'm sorry, I'm stuttering. This happens sometimes, my apologies. On one census, they were listed as mulatto, right? Which means that there was Black or white, Black and white. After mulatto, then there's quadroon. That's 1/4. Then after quadroon, there's octoroon, 1/8. And it goes to 1/16 and all that, but I can't remember the word for 1/16 because my math is off, right? My fractions are messed up. So, so I'm not laughing at that because it's a very serious matter. And these are terms that people don't usually refer to Black people anymore, mulatto, quadroon, octoroon, and all that. Those are considered today to be offensive terms, so it's not a good idea to use that in polite or public conversation. This is an educational moment, that's why I'm sharing it in the way that I'm sharing it. Okay, but on that next census, when his family, the Pope's family, moved to Chicago, they started identifying as white on the census, okay? And because it was gonna be easier to live, easier to gain access, easier to be included into society if you identify as a white person. That's the history. That is the history. So when you can contextualize these experiences and realize that a family had to change their racial identity because they looked like they had complexion as Paul Mooney would say, the complexion for the protection, okay? They had they looked at a certain way so they could live a certain way. My 6 generations wasn't gonna be able to do that, okay? We're not. We're not going to be able to do that, all right? So we're in the 1950s now. Near Malone Majet's midway. You got me? I've come this far to freedom, and I won't turn back. I'm climbing to the highway from my old dirt track. I'm coming and I'm going and I'm stretching and I'm growing and I'll reap what I've been sowing, or my skin's not black. I've prayed and slaved and waited and I've sung my song. You bled me and you starved me, but I've still grown strong. You've lashed me and you've treed me and you've everything but freed me, but in time you'll know you need me and it won't be long. I've seen the daylight breaking high above the bow. I've found my destination and I've made my vow. So whether you abhor me or deride me or ignore me, mighty mountains loom before me, and I won't stop now. I won't stop now. I won't stop now. Mighty mountains loom before me, and I won't stop now. I won't stop now. I won't stop now. Mighty mountains loom before me, and I won't stop now. All right. So, I'm not going to preach, because that would be a part of the Black Baptist Church tradition. I'm not doing that. Okay? So we're going to skip the sermon. And we're going to talk about things that happen special, like baptism. Okay? So I'm going to tell you a story about my baptism. And I don't have to really set it up because the information is inside of the poem. Hopefully I can get out of my head the right way. But there are these sounds that I want you to become familiar with. And it goes all the way back to field shouts, right? How people work in the field and the rhythm they have when they're working to keep doing what they have to do, right? And the wails and the moans that come. And also songs of joy, songs of gratitude. These things are all present. A lot of times we look at it through the blues. But the blues became jazz, became gospel, became soul, became R&B, became funk, became hip hop, became all of these things that embody the Black American experience. And it's important for us to acknowledge that as Black women sitting up here, all right? But here are some of the sounds from that church with that wooden floor and no air conditioning in that Louisiana heat with the church fans going. But when it was time for us to get baptized, we'd hear, "Take me to the water. Take me to the water. Take me to the water to be baptized. None but the righteous. None but the righteous. None but the righteous shall see God. I know I got religion. I know I got religion. I know I got religion. I've been baptized. Wade in the water. Wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. Oh, children, wade in the water. Wade in the water, children. gonna trouble the water. Take me to the water, wade in the water, up from the water, baptized and born again. None but the righteous, I know I got religion. Saved, sanctified, and holy, you go tell them I'm a child of the King. 'Cause somebody prayed for me. Somebody, somewhere, prayed for me. They took me to the water when I was 7 years old, sitting on the back pew of Galilee Baptist Church. Reverend Davis asked during revival night if anyone wanted to give their life to the Lord. I hadn't been paying much attention until I heard those words. I said to my mama, "Mama, I want to be baptized." She said, "We're going on up that end." I stepped out of the pew and into the aisle. A drop caught the ruffle of my dress. I looked at my daddy and he was surprised. Then he smiled. Take me to the water, wade in the water, up from the water, baptized and born again. None but the righteous, I know I got religion. Saved, sanctified, and holy, go tell them I'm a child of the King. 'Cause somebody prayed for me. Young Miss Anderson, why do you want to join church? I believe in the Lord and I want to be baptized. Jareen, my sister, started laughing. Mama, Daddy, and my dear smiled. And I got to sit on the front pew for the rest of revival. Mama dressed me in all white, a robe and a head wrap around my head. My hair was freshly hot combed with curls, and it didn't matter that it was going to get wet. We were running late. I walked in and went straight to the choir stand where a tub built into the church wall stood. I saw Reverend Davis baptize my friend Sheila. I stepped out of line and ran to my dad and said, "Is he going to hold me under there a long time?" "No," Daddy said, "you don't have to be scared." "Should I hold my breath like I do in swim class?" Daddy said, "Yes," and I was ready. I stepped up on that ladder. Uncle Peter helped me in. The water was cold and it smelled fishy. Reverend Davis put his hand over my face and said, "Young Sister Anderson, you have stood before the church and confessed your belief in Christ. Now I baptize you in the name of the Father, of the Son, and of the Holy Ghost." And he gently dumped my head under the water while Uncle Peter held my body. I remember this day very clearly because when I came up from the water, the first thing I saw was my mama and daddy's tears. Take me to the water, wade in the water, up from the water, baptized and born again. None but the righteous, I know I got religion, saved, sanctified, and holy. Go tell them I'm a child of the King. Because somebody, somewhere, prayed for me. Wade in the water. I need your help. Wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. Oh, children, wade. It's okay. In the water. I told you I invited the spirit up here. In the water, children, wade. In the water. God's gonna trouble the water. God's gonna trouble the water. Woo! We got through that one, didn't we? So, I've introduced you to Mama Star, Grandmama Star, Grandmama Minervia, Grandmama Golina, and my Mama Helen. I am Jolivette Anderson Douoning, now Dr. Jolivette Anderson Douoning, right. First generation that wasn't in the cotton field, okay? Because Mama picked cotton with her mama.
PhD.
And, say again?
PhD.
Oh, yeah, excuse me, Dr. Jolivette Anderson. I thought I said that. Did I say that?
Yeah, but also add the PhD.
Boy, that's kind of redundant. But anyway, okay. she want me to be a double PhD, Dr. PhD. Right, okay, I get it. All right, she does that. She has to make me, because I still am in disbelief that I actually achieved that. So she has to constantly remind me to accept that I accomplished that. So I got a good daughter. I hope I've been a good mama.
Yes, you have.
Okay, all right.
You're smart. You're smart.
Okay, thank you. You too. Okay, so I'm the 5th generation, and I always wanted to have children, but I ended up with just one child. Shout out to your daddy. Okay. And Nadja is the 6th generation. And 6 generations of Black women is, with documented history in the United States, is kind of rare, right? So this is why we share these stories. And it's important for people to know that there's a diverse group of people who are we, the Black people. We're not all the same. We don't all have the same philosophical or political beliefs. We don't all come from the same places or have the same understanding, but we have had a same or similar experience based on how this country has treated us. Okay? So I come from enslaved people and free people of color. And the journey has not been easy, but we made sure that even throughout the trials and tribulations, we also managed to find joy. We also managed to understand that there are hills and valleys, ebbs and flows, ups and downs that we all have to go through as human beings. And we were always taught to see people as people, to look at people and to respect people's humanity, regardless of the color of their skin, regardless of who they choose to love, regardless of their socioeconomic background. People are people. And that is the message, even though we have some rough days dealing with stuff, right? But we vent at the house, we don't vent in public. So that is important for us to understand. So I would like to introduce you to the 6th generation, who I practically almost had to beg to do one of her songs, okay? And this one isn't released. So Nadja is taking this whole thing to the next level, right? Because my mother started playing piano in the church when she was 15 years old. And my grandmother wrote about this in her ledger. And because my grandmother wrote this information down, I have lists of songs that my mother would teach the junior choir. And all this information is there, and I want to take it and do something with it. But what I found as a historian, that I've been trained to recognize patterns in history. And so one pattern that's inside the family is my mother started playing piano professionally at 15 through the church. My daughter got her first professional gig, largely because of Rajani, who's sitting in the audience today, when she was 15 years old. So she started making money with her music at 15. And thanks to those lovely people at Winooski High School who encouraged my daughter, who found that she was a drummer. She plays drums, y'all. Mm-hmm. And I had no clue that this child had this in her. And she was already doing music production stuff on her cell phone and everything. But then she became a drummer. And then one of the teachers, who was that teacher? Miss Paquette. We want to shout out Miss Paquette. Miss Paquette said, Nadja, you should look up music colleges and see, if you'd like to go to a music college. And so Nadja started looking up top 5, top 10 colleges and found out one was in Boston. And then she asked me to take her one of these weird events that she likes me to take her to that I don't want to be at, but I'm her mama. And I said, I'm not taking you on a school day. That's unacceptable. But if we can schedule a tour at this college you told me about, then I'll take you, and then you can go to this event, and then we can drive on back. So that's what we did, and it was Berklee College of Music. So we did a tour of Berklee, and this girl fell in love with Boston and Berklee, and I said, I hope you get a good job, because it's pricey to live here. Lo and behold, she got to go summer school, 5-week summer camp at Berklee. Next thing you know, she's auditioning for Berklee. And then next thing you know, January 31st, 2025, she gets a letter saying, hey, you can come to Berkeley. And click this button, and you click the button to accept your position at Berkeley, and they say, give me $1,000 to accept your spot. They gonna do it. Y'all better, if you got some young ones in your family, y'all better start saving. Okay. So not just going to Berkeley in the fall, but we will be passing a cup around for donations at some point when you see us around town. Okay.
Ushers lock the doors.
For sure. Okay. You get accepted in January and all the scholarships shut down in February. You still can't believe you actually got accepted. So we working it through. We gonna be there. All right. So I asked her to share one of her songs, and this one isn't released yet. And this, what's it called again? Slow Down? This one is called Slow Down. And I like it because it feels like a summer song. When she's playing it in the car, it feels like summer to me. So I'm gonna let her do her thing. And do you need me to move off the stage?
No.
Okay. Go for it. She made this music, and she wrote the lyrics.
Oh, okay, mama. Holding hands, caressing her cheek, only atoms apart and everyone can see. It's the summer again, I'm working 24 hours. Get up out of bed, I'm headed straight to the shower. I'm planning everything in a rush. Feel like I'm wasting my money on a drug called illusion. My brother's trying to act like a thug, when all I ever really needed was a hug from him. Now I'm lucid, choosing what I should let go of. I'm clueless, not stupid, I'm trying to grow up. We're moving to a brand new city, gotta keep moving forward, looking pretty. But now my mind's racing, always shaking, attitude faking, cause everything's changing. I keep trying to make it and ask, will I make it? I think I will, but I gotta slow down, go for a walk all around town. Don't come back until the sun's down. I know these things, they might seem loud, just slow down, slow down. Everyone is moving ahead and now I'm backward, trying to play pretend at my job like nothing matters. Spread my organs out on the floor, my blood splatters. Take my heart out to devour, taste sour. Minute by minute and hour by hour, I'm losing my mind and I can't see my power. I swear I'm trying to focus on me, but lately I just need to breathe. I just need to breathe. I still remember shaking and swerving in the car. I wanna be heard but not go too far. Turn 4 blank white walls into my world, now I'm packing it. Worried that I won't fit in as an African. It seems so easy at the start, I feel like I have to fix every problem. But you just gotta remember, baby, it'll take 100 reincarnations to solve them. Just slow down, go for a walk all around town. Don't come back until the sun's down. You've been here before, so don't act too proud. Get your head out the clouds, slow down, slow down, slow down, slow down. I'm passenger riding with my hand on the bar. Don't move in a straight line to see who you are. With my hands on the bar, to see who you are.
So Nadja will be studying music production.
Not production.
Music.
I am undecided, technically speaking.
Okay, well, she do music production and she drums.
Yeah.
That's about all
Singer,
I know.
songwriter, producer, drummer.
Okay, you got a lot going on. Okay, so we're having a fundraiser July 11th at Kestrel Coffee House for the Black Artist Showcase event on that night at 6:30. It's a Friday, July 11th. So if you're able to come out, Nadja will be doing some more of her songs. I'll be doing a few poems, and anyone else that wants to do some poetry that night, I think they're welcome. Right, Rajni?
That's right.
Yay.
Okay, and at this point, I like to open up for Q&A. I don't even know how much time do we have? Oh, we have 9 minutes. So I want to open it up for anyone that may have any questions about anything they heard from the academic piece that I did, or we did rather, and the artistic piece that we've done, the content of the poetry, the history, or anything, because I am at my core an educator. So it makes no sense for me to get up and lecture and perform and not give you the opportunity to ask questions and express anything that you may be interested in or want to know more about. And it's a library. We're supposed to be learning stuff up in here, so I hope you've learned some stuff. Yes, sir.
Who created the image and when?
This, when I moved from Mississippi to Indiana, my first week there, I sat with an artist at a festival. So they ask for somebody to come and they paint you while other people are watching. And so he did my image. And then later, after Nadja was born, he did her image the same way at a festival. And then I was doing a play after my mom passed called My Mother's Lives. It was a combination of my poetry and different philosophical stuff. It's a little longer version of what I did today, basically, with the academic and the artistic meeting. And so I went to James Werner, who lives in Indiana. He's a visual artist, fine artist. And I asked him, can you possibly put images together? So Mama Starks' image is just a blend of the other three, but I had pictures of all three, my mother, grandmother, and great-grandmother. So James Werner, so we have actually our six generations documented in visual art. So this would be 4 of them. Oops. This would be 4 of them, and then the painting of me and Nadja is actually at the house that we still have that my parents bought in 1965. That house, the artwork is down there in that house. So yeah, but James Werner, you can look him up, Werner. He's a pretty guitarist too. Yeah, he likes reggae and stuff too.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Questions? And I think it's a C in his name, James C. Werner, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah. Yeah.
Yes, I see it. Get it? Because it's a C.
Questions? Yes, sir.
What's it like for you both being a part of such a gifted legacy of people, of Black women, and then be able to share that as mother and daughter?
Can I go first?
Have at it, because I don't know the answer to that question yet.
For me, it's kind of sort of been, it's cool and it's important for us to share our stories, but at the same time, it's a little overwhelming because the pressure a little bit to do well, slightly, hopefully. I was actually telling you yesterday about the event that we did today, and I was feeling a little bit nervous / awkward because, all of these women have done great things, and then I'm just a part of that. And I'm not saying that I'm not important or anything, but it's just like, like, how do I live up to the family name? How do I do this? Like, what if something happens and
Go down the wrong path or something.
Yeah, like if we were going on a hill and just go straight down.
Well, I think my mother had that fear as well, because my mother said some wild things. Her fear made her say some wild things because she didn't want us to go too high. She was afraid that the fall would be, if something happened, the fall would devastate us, right? So she just said, I just want you to just be a little bit above average. And I'm like, wow, okay. That explains a lot on some things that's been kind of holding me back a little bit there, maybe. I don't know. But, and it's not, it's her fault. I mean, you're talking about a woman who was born into and grew up through Jim Crow segregation in the South. And so that fear is justified. And you want to be able to protect your children. And I have that in me. It's like I want to protect my child from any and everything. But I also have to figure out how to let go, right? And let you grow and find your own independence. And that's not easy. It's not easy. So, for me anyway. So I think I may have a different perspective than Nadja on your question, Brother Rajani, because I feel like it's my obligation to do this work, and it's also my duty and obligation as a parent to teach my child what I know. Kind of like Beyonce and her daughter, right? But we can only give our kids what we have, right? And what we know and the knowledge base that we have. And so when I found out her interest was music, and I've worked with musicians and bands before, even though I'm not a musician, I've worked with artists as a poet. I said, well, okay, you need to do this, you need to do that. Or, I don't think I said you need, because her personality don't do the you need to very well. So I had to respectfully request, okay? So, and in that respectful request, it was Black Artist Showcase one night where I tricked her. Make her come say, hey, let me go, Mr. Rajani doing this thing. I told him I'd stop by, it's snowing, but let's go ahead and go by. And she saw one sister get up and do a song. So what was the sister? Talicia. Yeah, she saw her get up and sing one of her songs to a track. And I saw my kid like this. And I was like, uh-oh, somebody just got bit by a bug, that artistic bug. And so she got up that night and sung one of her own songs, and then snapped on me, got mad at me in the car on the drive back. I was like, what is wrong with you? Y'all telling me I did good, but I was singing out of key. And I'm like, you got up and you did it. You took the leap. Why are you fussing at me? Because it was crazy, y'all. But that's what being a mama was to me.
From my perspective of that, no, I was excited, and I had never performed any of my songs live before, and that was technically the first time I'm sharing and singing one of my own things in front of people, even if it was just like 6 people. 5.
Yeah, it was just a handful of people, but still, I think. And this, y'all, you Gen X?
Mama,
Gen
X.
Oh, okay, whatever. Okay, so y'all Gen Zers, and Lord bless us on the Gen Alphas.
Oh, please.
But them Gen Zers, they think that everything's supposed to sound perfect all the time. Everything is supposed to look like it's this. Everything is not perfect all the time. You can't retake something that's live. This is like, they're recording. Hey, recording audience. But there's no do-over. This is live, and there are human beings here, and it's not going to be perfect.
Yeah, right? So I had to learn the hard way at some point. Even if it's like, even if you mess up, as long as you just keep going and just,
you know what the trick is? Slow down. She hates when I do that. I love you, girl. Anyway, we have another question. My apologies. We're out of time as in 1 minute. Do anybody else want to say? Y'all look like y'all want to say something. I saw her face. What you want to say? Nothing. No.
Any other questions at all?
Now she mad because I called out. You must be Gen Z too. I can tell. That's with love, beloved. That's with love.
I want to say thank you.
Oh, okay.
Thank you very much for your informative presentation, interesting, entertaining, and the whole family dynamic.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, thank y'all for taking time out of your day to be here and allow us to come into your space, into your mind and your hearts in the way that we've come. And thank you so much. Nana Music, we have business
Nana
cards.
Upside Down. Now.
Nana Upside Down. You can find her Nana Upside Down. That's her stage name. And we have business cards that you can take and scan to get to her music and all that other kind of stuff. So hopefully we'll see you July 11th at Kestrel Coffee on what street? Maple Street downtown at 6:30, and around town. And in case she looked familiar, she worked at the Target across the street over there. That's why
I'm still contemplating on whether I want to go.
Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you all so much for having us. Give yourself some love, please. Give yourself some love. Thank you, Mr. Cameraman.
Thank you.